G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. Another week of sailing action has been done and I cannot wait to talk about it with you guys. We have an amazing show. This show is actually going to be a bit of a SailGP special. We're going to talk about the SailGP and we've got a special guest from that event. Can't wait, and we hope that event is going to be a cracker. First off, though, a few apologies. We are spread deep at the moment. We are all in rural areas, so technology is tough. If there's a few gaps, there is nothing we can do about it. We are running as high a speed internet as we can get in the regions we're in, so apologies for that. And apologies for my two co-hosts who are still celebrating their yacht racing on the weekend as part of the Teakle Adelaide Lincoln yacht race. So let me bring them in so at least you know you can say, "G'day, Brett Perry."
Greetings, Exalted One.
I missed out on last week, and you know what? I went through withdrawal symptoms. Hello, Bar Karatians. Hello, everyone. I've got to say, that race is just a glamour. Last night, or sorry, 2 nights ago, going across the bottom there, sailing into the sunset, 17 to 18 knots of breeze, jib stick out, 40-foot boat, just nailed it. Beautiful racing.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's bring our other mate in just so we can get the full details.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Nick Boss.
Yeah, I've been on the purr for at least 36 hours. You can probably hear the purr in the back of my throat. But I've got to tell you, it has been a fantastic few days. And we're only just starting. We haven't even started the race week yet. So
yeah.
I am loving it. I'm loving being back in my home port. I'm loving catching up with all my mates. The only thing is you're not here, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Jordan.
Yeah. Well, we agreed I had to go and do the business trip so you could do the race. That was fair
Correct.
enough, buddy. And smashing it, just by the way, the Italian Coast Guard loving you, Safe, is all I'll say. Yeah, things are good. Things are good. So,
hey, I'd like to just cut in and say one thing here, if you don't mind, boys. Today we had the presentations, and I have to say how proud I am of the Port Lincoln Yacht Club, obviously, and also the South Australian sailing in general, to have the amount of people from the East Coast to come over here and for the first time and do this regatta. They are just, I mean, they've just done the race. They haven't done the regatta yet. And they're all already saying it's the best regatta they've ever done in their life. So love it, the Teakle Blue Water Classic.
Yeah, cool. Well, we'll touch on that a little later on, boys. But first off, we want to bring in our special... Go on. Yep, we got a little bit of delay, clearly, lads, so just be aware of that. We want to bring in our special guest so we can roll into this whole show and keep it going. So, boys, obviously I've been away. I've relied on you guys to help me get our special guest in for this episode. And you've got a farmer from Denmark. Please welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Nicolai.
Should we talk him up?
Nicolai Sehested.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Does he?
Nicolai, you there, buddy?
What have I gotten myself into? Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
Hello, farmer. How are you, mate?
I'm very good. How are you?
Now,
so, do you know how to sail, or?
No, a thing or two about sailing, but mainly farming questions would be good, I think, tonight.
So, for those people who don't know who Nicolai is, he is the skipper of the new Denmark team for SailGP, the new team that has come on this year. We're very excited to see how this team goes, and we want to try and give him a big ups. He's also done a couple of Volvo Ocean races with Vestas and then AXA Nobel. He's won World Maxi Champs a couple of times. Huge career on the match racing circuit, and actually holds the 24-hour distance record on Volvo 65. So 604 nautical miles in one day. So he's got a bit of experience. Nicolai, we're super pumped to have you on the show, buddy.
No, I'm super happy to be here, especially with you guys. You seem to be the legends of our sort of sport, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Come on, mate. Don't talk us up. How about you? You're the legend in the sport. And
far from.
Well,
I'm still upcoming.
Mate,
still
you've
young,
gone
still
from
hungry.
match racing, couple of Volvos. Now you're skippering an unbelievable class of boat, which is going to produce one of the best things we like to see in yachting with the Super Series. That is so cool, man.
Oh, I agree. I think SailGP is very cool, and it's going to be, I think, revolutionizing the sport. It's taking exciting racing into the center of the cities, and it's actually going to, I think it's going to be very cool in a few days when we start here in Sydney. I'm really excited for it.
Hey, Nicolai.
So,
yeah, I'll go, boss. Just a quick one. You have a couple of great stories. Like we know one story in particular, which we'll drag out of you later on, which makes us laugh and laugh and laugh. But one of my favourite little stories about you that is that you promised your parents you would never do the Volvo Ocean Race so that they'd buy you a new boat as a kid. How did that work out, that conversation?
It's a few years ago, when I wanted an Optimist thing, and the only thing I had in my world was just winning Optimist races. That's all I cared about. And I was pretty sure I was never going to sail around the world in a monohull. So I thought it was an easy gamble. We just watched a TV show on the TV about the ocean race, and I said, I promise I'll never do that if I get an Optimist. And then, I got my Optimist thing, and I sort of forgot all about it. And then I got the option of doing the ocean race a few years later. And you can keep your promises as good as you can, but eventually you gotta also do what's right. And I think they forgave me pretty quickly for it, my parents, anyways. Yeah,
good. I'm glad because it was an amazing opportunity. You were in part of a great team. So, you made your name as a match racer. Do you think that's going to give you an advantage if you start making it to the final in the SailGP?
I think, obviously I spent many years match racing, and the last few years been match racing in catamarans, and I think that's going to actually going to help a fair bit. I think it's not just if we make it to the final in the match racing, and also actually the fleet racing, we spend a fair bit of time doing that on the match racing circuit and the catamarans and the M32. So I do have a fair bit of experience with the boundaries and the fast sort of fleet racing and catamarans, and I think that's definitely going to help me. It won't hurt me, that's for sure.
Very cool. All right. So, what about the whole process for you? Let's actually, before we get there, with the Volvo, you rolled into, as a young lad, you rolled in on Vestas, and you rolled in with you're called Nico, and one of our great mates is called Nico. You rolled into a pretty cool partnership there. You guys seem to have hit it off with Chris Nicholson. You and him seem to be best mates. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Chris has been a massive part of my sailing career, and he's sort of, he's probably been my mentor for the last 6-7 years. So yeah, absolutely. It's I have a lot of credit and respect for him. It's he's been a big part of my sailing journey.
It's a great relationship, mate. It seems to have worked wonders, and now you're reaping the benefits of time with a great man, and obviously you're a great guy. So let's talk about SailGP. How did it come about for you?
It's been around now for one season, and it's taking the sailing world by storm. It's a fantastic event to watch, and it was also, when I saw it for the first time, I knew it was going to be a cool race. I didn't actually dream that I could be a part of it. I just enjoyed watching it, and then our CEO of the sailing team, Jonas Christensen, the Finn sailor, as many of you probably know, he's been working on this for a long time, and he contacted me half a year ago and asked if I'd be interested in joining on a Danish team, and it was a pretty easy decision for me to go for that, and then obviously a long sort of process of finding the funding for it. But we're very lucky and fortunate to have a strong sponsor behind the whole team now, Rockwool, a Danish company. Red and white colours, so it's matched perfect with the Danish colours as well, and that's sort of how it all came about.
Yeah, very good. Hey, it's BP here, Nicolai. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very good. And you?
Yeah, good. Just trying to sort the technology situation out. But hey, listen, I've got a question for you. When you first got on the boat, you you got on the boat. Obviously, there was a tentative sort of feeling about it when you first got the thing going. What was the feeling? Because a lot of our listeners obviously will never get the chance to sail on this type of boat. But what was the feeling when you first got it up on foils and you first got cruising along? I mean, how did that feel?
I mean, I would say it was easy and, just straight into it. But, you guys are not going to buy that. I think you know me too well. So I'm probably just going to go with the truth and say it was extremely scary and very full on the first time you're doing above 40 knots. Actually, the first day we went out, we ended up getting up to 48 knots of boat speed, which it's a massive difference from most sailing we're doing. It's it was scary, and it was definitely you're sitting with a lot of respect for the boat afterwards, and also a bit of fear. That's for sure. But with the right preparation and the respect for the sort of the sailing and the boat we're using, you can manage that fear and you can sort of control it and actually use it to be sort of sharp instead.
I love the answer. The word fear is a good word because it actually puts you on that line, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And if you say you're never scared of this boat, I think you're lying, because they do bite, and they when you make mistakes at 45 knots, it's a different game for sure. So I think we all have a lot of respect for this equipment, and we all want to make sure we come home in one piece every day after sailing.
Very good.
Nicolai, you've got a pretty amazing team, the Danish team that you've put together. There's a lot of Olympic medals in your team, a lot of people from your region, except for one. You've got one bloke, I think it's his birthday today, Tom Johnson, who's an Aussie, and really he's done nothing. So how did you go about selecting your team? Hey, go on, boss. The male model. He's just there for his looks.
There for the look.
How did you go about selecting the team, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the most important thing about the whole campaign is the team. So that was actually, yeah, it wasn't easy, but it was sort of, straightforward. You need the best guys you can get, and within the rules. And we have a rule saying you're allowed to have one foreigner of the team. So, that was an obvious choice to get Tom Johnson. He has a lot of experience with these boats and sailing with Oracle in Bermuda as well. And then him and I, he was also on board Vestas in the first World Ocean Race. So we know each other well, and yeah, we work together very easily and have sort of the same personality on a boat. So that was an easy choice.
Oh, okay.
And in regards to the Danish sailors, I mean, we have, we're a small country, but we have a lot of good sailors, as I'm sure you agree with.
Yep.
So many options, but I've sort of went for a mix of experience and sort of results, in this sort of racing, and then some young talent. So I went with Rasmus Kustner on the flight control. Him and I, we did the Extreme Sailing Series together and also the World Match Racing Tour. He has a lot of experience in foiling Camerons. And then I went for the three grinders. We went for Martin Kirketab. He's won the Olympic gold in the 49er. So, easy choice.
Yep.
And then two young Danish talent guys, not so famous yet, but don't worry, they will be very famous soon. Two twins, incredibly strong, incredibly funny, and charming boys. And they will take the sailing world by storm. I've said it a few times, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to prove myself right very soon.
A couple of midgets, the two little fellas.
200 kilo midgets, if you can call it that.
200 kilo midgets.
Yeah, I've added them up. They're 100 kilo each, so that would make it, the twins of 200 kilos.
Fantastic.
They are identical twins. I'm not kidding. You'll find out very soon, and they're extremely funny and extremely, very good guys to have around a team that bring a lot of good mood and good spirit on board.
So,
nice.
Are you going to win in Sydney?
Well, we shouldn't. Let me put it that way. If we do, I think some of the other teams is making some massive mistakes. If a new team like us can come and win, so no, I don't think so, to be honest. But we are very competitive, and we're pushing hard, and hopefully we're going to get some good races and steal some points here and there from the other teams. But I think putting a goal as winning in Sydney, that would be us being a little bit cocky and a little bit not realistic about our level. No, we're not gonna win in Sydney, Jordan.
Nicolai, a few weeks ago we said the boats are gonna be easier to sail. After what happened last year, they want to make the boat simpler. Is that going to be the case, or they're going to be separated even more?
No, they are going to be, they are getting more even every day. And I think, they are already so even that the right team will win in any of the boats right now. It's not about the boats. It's about the team for sure. It's one design, no doubt about it. So
really,
regards, if the boats are getting.
So Nicolai, what you're saying is that. Sorry, we're dealing with a bit of a delay here, but what I'm saying is, what I asked was, so you put any team on any boat, they're going to be the same performance, other than the fact that obviously sailing ability and knowledge and all that sort of stuff, but all the boats are pretty perfectly similar.
Yeah, obviously they're not 100% identical, because there are a few small differences here and there in the wings and so on, but they are so identical. So, the best team will come out on top, and you can't afterwards say that was due to the boat. There's simply not enough difference in the boats to say that they are very close, and they're getting almost 100% identical by the time we get to San Fran.
Yeah, right. Which leads me to another question. When you formed the team and you became a part of the SailGP, did they give you a lot of information on the boats and obviously help you to get you to a point where you're actually able to then start your own data correlation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's no secret that SailGP is very focused on making sure we have, all the teams have the same tools, same equipment, and same information available. So, all the data from the boats is shared, so we can go in and look at every single race last year from every single team and see what settings they were on, how they're sailing the boat, and how they're set up. So it's a massive sort of help you're getting from SailGP to get up to speed quickly. Because it's their interest that we get up to speed quickly and we're not, falling behind the other teams for the first few races.
Absolutely.
It's not good racing, and it's not fun to watch for anyone. So they have helped us a lot and really put us up to speed quickly. And I think hopefully that's going to show in Sydney in a few days.
Okay. Well, so before I, wander off into my next little bunch of questions, how do you feel personally about it? Do you feel confident that you're going to be out there, putting on a good show and be confident that you're going to be happy with the results?
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, we only have so far 15 hours in the boat, so obviously we'd love to have a lot more. But with that in mind, I feel pretty confident, and we're able to go around the course in a dry lap without touching the water on our own. So that's good. Obviously, that's going to change when there's 6 other boats around us trying to make our life difficult. So we might not be able to pull a dry lap off by then, but we're definitely sailing well enough that we can put on a good race, and I'm sure we can take some points here and there already in Sydney from some of the other teams. So I'm feeling good. I'm very happy with the team that we formed both on shore and the water.
Perfect.
That is a very media response reaction there, Nicolai.
Here we go.
Yep.
Now, tell me what you really think. Like, you've got a fantastic team, and you just want to smash these guys, right?
I mean, absolutely. How competitive I am, and you know how hard I will go. But I'm honestly, there's a lot to learn on these boats, and we can't think we can cut any corners and surprise the whole world. We have a long way to climb, and we're doing it the right way. We're not cutting corners, so. I wish I could tell you we're going to go out and smash them all in Sydney, but it's not going to be the case. We are going to have a few struggles here and there, that's for sure. But I think we're going to be pretty, we're going to be good. Don't worry, we're not going to embarrass you, Bicey, and you don't have to delete me on Facebook.
That wouldn't ever happen.
That's very good.
You did after we hit the reach, in 2014. So it happened before.
We follow the same pages, Defenders. We love the Land Rover Defender. And there's a rumour you've just joined SailGP just to get on hold of the Land Rover sponsorship to get a new Defender. Is that correct?
I can't comment on that, but I haven't heard that rumor before. No, that's not true. It would be a very long way to go about it to get a Defender. I'm sure there's easier way than sailing your way into the SailGP.
Correct.
Well, so the SailGP, we're talking the first event of the second series is in Sydney, and it starts the coming weekend on Friday the 28th of February. There'll be a few races starting 3 p.m. Sydney time, and then on the Saturday I think it's 4 or 5 p.m. On the 29th, which is 29th of February because it's a leap year, an Olympic year. The weather just looking at the weather maps, Nicolai, it looks like it's going to be really light. Have you looked ahead and planned around that?
Yeah, for sure. We're looking at the weather sort of every day, and also because we're training right now, we need to pick the right foils when we go sailing. And yeah, unfortunately, I've seen it's looking pretty soft in the weekend, but it's still almost a week out, and lots can change. And if we end up getting a glamour sunny day, I'm sure we can have some sea breeze action. So I wouldn't worry too much about it yet, but for sure we're hoping for sort of a medium breeze. If it's too light, I think it's a bit tricky for us. So we're definitely hoping for a bit more breeze than it's showing right now.
What is your choice there, Nicolai, between the foils? Like 2 sets? And basically
we have 2 sets. We have a high-speed set and a sort of a low-speed high-lift set. And then, it's one design, so we're all getting, wearing the same foils when we're sailing. It's a decision from the SailGP tech team in the morning, and then we all get on the same foils that day.
Okay.
Oh, so you can't be on the one foil and the others on the other?
No, they're keeping it one design to make sure it's all about the sailors and not the equipment.
Yeah, copy.
That's cool.
No,
that was the question I was about to ask. Yeah, okay, cool. No worries.
So what about sails? Have you got 1, 2 or 3 jibs?
I'm sorry to break this to you, Jordan, but we don't have much sails anymore. We moved on to a wing now.
But don't you have a jib on it? Or have I just thinking?
Yeah, we do have 2 jibs yet. Yeah, we have a J1 and a J2, but the mainsail is gone, Jordan. We're now into.
I didn't ask about the mainsail, you mongrel.
You mongrel!
Get back to your tractor.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. 2 jibs, definitely 2 jibs. A J1 and a J2, so very simple. And yeah, crossovers are sort of around 12 knots. Then you get on the J2 and stick with that one.
Yep, okay. And they made a change to the wing controls. I think there's an extra element gone into the wings to make them more, you can move them up and down through the range a little bit better. Is that correct? Do you know about that? Obviously, you know about that.
Yep. You got more in the new upgraded version 2 wing. There's more sort of range in it, so which means you can twist more.
Right.
So in theory, you could actually twist so much you're actually getting riding moment up top.
Twist.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're actually out there sailing, I'm pretty sure most of that setup is done on shore. What are the controls that you can use on the wing whilst you're sailing?
The main thing you're actually playing when you're sailing is obviously the camber, which is sort of the depths of how much you sort of inverted the wing. And then you're obviously playing the sheet, the wing sheet, which is sort of pulling the bottom of the wing on and off the platform. And then the last bit is the twist in the top.
So you can alter
onshore,
twist.
you can do a bit. Sorry?
You can alter twist as you're going.
Yeah, we have a function, sort of a little button that you can twist with your one hand while you're doing the sheet with the other hand, the wing trimmer. So you do have a fair bit of trim functions, and then you can also sort of decide the shape of the wing, but that's done a bit more on shore, how the settings of your twist speed and your profile. But sailing is mainly just sheet, camber, and twist.
Tommy Johnson going to do that when he's trying to keep his hair looking like it should?
And looking
he's tucked that under the helmet, so it's all safe there. So he doesn't have to worry about that while sailing. We're all helmet and suited up.
Just a tip with Tom Johnson: make sure you remove all the mirrors on the boat, so he's not looking at himself. Now, what about?
Well, our Clarisol on the wing, that film we're using is red, so it's not reflecting on our boat. So we all sort of.
You're smart. You're a smart lad. What about you? What controls between you and the flight controller? How does that work? So do you actually control the foil on the rudder, or does the flight controller control both?
So, yeah, obviously when we're sailing a straight line, we're not doing any maneuvers. Then the flight controller is flying the boat, and he's doing that with sort of two, like, I'll call it a salt and a pepper cracker. He's spinning 2 wheels that can fly the main foils. He's also got buttons to adjust the lift and the rudders and the differential, but I also have those buttons where I'm standing in the back of the boat. So depending on the weather, if it's quite windy and you just want the maximum differential on the rudders and you're not playing so much the lift, then, he's sort of just focusing on the main foil. But if it's light winds, you are playing the rudders and the main foils, and then we're sort of helping each other doing it depending on the situation, if we have a lot of boats around us or if it's pretty easy and quiet around us.
Okay. Okay. And what about the communication off the boat? You know how we had Mike Martin on, who was part of the America's Cup back in the day in San Fran, where they invented a lot of the technology that's being utilised. And when you're sailing, have you got radios in the ear where the umpires are talking to you, or is it just light signals on the boat, you know, when you get to boundary or if you've got a penalty, that sort of stuff?
No, so the only way we can communicate on the boat is by radio and in the earpieces. It's so loud when you're sailing, you know, almost 50 knots up in the wind sort of noise. So, yeah, we have communications between us on board as the sailors, but we also have communication from the race management and the umpires. So if we get a boundary penalty or early start penalty, that will come in our ears as well with that information from the race control.
Okay. Is there any way that we could get in onto all your headphones as well whilst racing's going on? Could Bar Karate be part of the communication?
Absolutely not. That would be a suicide from our side if we let you guys in on our comms.
Hey, Martin.
Mate, you'd love us in
Nicolai, tack now.
The problem is if you're speaking in, you know, at the same time on the communication, it actually cuts each other's out and no one can hear anything. So I think that would be the main problem. We wouldn't be able to hear you because you three wouldn't be agreeing who's talking. You'd all be non-stop talking.
Oh, you're a good man. I love you picking on us, mate. I think that's fantastic. All right, so as a competitor, so we've got 7 teams. Australia, who won it last time. Team Japan, which was second, I think, from memory. You've got the USA, the Great British team, Spain, France, and, of course, Denmark. Do you obviously know most of these guys through the sailing world. What do you want to give us a form guide of the teams going in?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, actually, to be honest. Obviously, in the top, you know, Australia and Great Britain is doing very well. That, you know, strong teams sailing the boat extremely well, so they're going to be on form. Japan is a bit of an outsider because there's been a big crew change to that team, so they have a lot of catching up with the crew work. But obviously Nathan is one of the best sailors in the world, so they are going to be a competitor, I think, and they are going to get a lot better quickly. Then, you know, it's US, Spain, France, and Denmark, and I think we're hoping that we can steal some points from these teams here and there, but they are a lot of, you know, all 3 of these teams is going very well and looking strong on the water and sailing dry laps, all of them. So I think in general it's going to be pretty high level up there, and there's a lot of improvements compared to last season in the early days. So I think we are going to have a bit on, but I think we are able to at least steal a few points from 2 or 3 teams here and there in some of the races.
As a sailing competitor,
I love.
Go, BP.
Sorry, Jordan, you there? Sorry, I just said I love that term. A lot of us are sailing dry laps. I love that term. I think that's really cool for us to try and, you know, talk about a bit more. Sailing dry laps. So the people that don't understand means sailing around a track without touching down. How hard is that to do?
It's actually it's actually harder than it sounds. There's a lot of, you know, corners and turns that you're on the limit, especially if it's windy. But no, these boats is the technology of them is improved so much, and they're incredible machines, and it's all credit to the SailGP actually push so hard to share the data and share the knowledge and get the boats so even as possible, so everyone can actually do dry laps within a reasonable amount of time. Otherwise it would have taken us forever to catch up with the other teams. So it's good, but it's not that easy as it sounds. It is tricky.
One of the things that is interesting, and I will tell our audience to go to the SailGP website, which is sailgp.com, and have a look at the teams. So, you know, whilst Nicolai was just talking everyone, we've got a bit of a chance. The depth of talent on each of these boats, whether it's the French team, the Spanish team, whichever team you pick, they're the best sailors in the world. They genuinely are some of the superstar sailors of the world. Apart from the 3 of us who are probably too old now and we didn't get picked. I
was waiting for that.
You seriously, it must.
You legend.
It must, from your perspective, Nicolai, going out to sail against these guys must be a real turn on. Like, just the thought of going against the best. You know, for me, if it was me, I would be wrapped every day going out against these sort of people. And I knowing you, it'd be the same for you, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. It's I'm very lucky that I get to be in this position. I can race against these guys. It's it's a dream, and I'm really enjoying it every day. It's I don't see myself as special, so I think I'm quite lucky I get to race these guys, and I think it's something I definitely got to enjoy.
Mm.
But as Jordan says, it is missing a Barkarati team, isn't it?
No, Nicolai.
Not really. I think
he's not here to make us feel good.
I'm going right without it. So keep it that way.
Oh, I love you. I love you.
Oh, I reckon it'd be hilarious.
Yeah, well, let's.
Yeah.
Now, Nicolai, we've spoken about. We've spoken about the SailGP. How about your life in the Volvo Ocean Race? Because that's obviously one side to the other side.
Yep, it's two very different things, but no, I enjoy the Ocean Race. It's a very good race and very good sailing. It's hard to if you unless you're sailing an Ep40, I can't come up with anything else that gives you sort of the same excitement in sailing as ocean racing. It's a different game, but for now I'm 100% focused on this SailGP and Ep40 because that's very unique, and it's giving me something that I didn't get in the ocean race. I'm to be honest, I'm totally addicted to doing these speeds and these sort of inshore racing in the cities. It's so cool.
So let's talk about the speed then, because you're doing the speed on the SailGP, but you also have that speed record from the 65, that 24-hour run. Do you want to? Let's just at least talk about that, because when you see the raw footage of what life was like on board, you can at least excuse me, tell us a bit about that, mate.
Yeah, it's as I said before, I don't think you can get any sort of racing like compared to that when you're just going non-stop for days and days and days, and you're pushing it, even though all the noises of the boats are telling you to slow down. But as a team in a Volvo Ocean Race, you are so close and you are so used to pushing the boat, so you don't really listen to the boat noises. You actually keep going until it's not noises anymore, and it's things coming apart. So that's sort of the way you're racing. If you want to do these 24-hour runs, you just sort of just go hard, and to do 600 miles in 24 hours, it's not a pleasant ride. It's pretty much everything wet and bumpy, and you don't get much sleep or food. It's just non-stop pushing with pretty much the whole crew on deck at that time, just to keep it running.
It is an amazing feat to sail around the world. One of the things about doing that, to run a boat that hard, that fast, is you have to have done all the preparation, and you have to have complete reliance on your teammates, and you have to be extremely professional in case something ever goes wrong. That's fair, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's that's. Yeah, I don't know. You can't put it any other way than you just put it. If you don't trust your teammates, and if you don't feel comfortable in the guys you're with in that race, you're not going to do well, and you're not going to be fast, because you're not going to rest if you go downstairs and you think there's a few lemons on deck sailing the boat at 30 knots in the middle of the night down the wave.
Love that word.
You're not going to get any rest. So if you don't have 100% confidence in the guys, you're not going to work well together. And that's why we did 600 miles and a bit extra. It's simply because all the guys on board, we had full trust in each other, and on top of that, it was also very good guys, with Nico and Luke and Brad and Justin, and all these guys that most people know. It's also a privilege to be on a Volvo campaign with them, and being able to have so many fast sailors in one boat.
Yeah. So Nicolai, speaking of Volvo campaigns, Vestas.
Yep. I knew you were going to bring that one up, Bryce.
Fantastic campaign. Fantastic sponsor. And then you put her on bricks.
Yeah.
Walk us through that little situation. Because we all sitting on the shore, saw what happened, or was what was playing out, and it's like, holy crap. That is something big. So talk us through that from a first timer, second leg. How'd that go down?
Yeah, that was a massive one, to put it quite easy and simple. It's when you're standing driving a boat in the second leg, and as you're only 24 years old, you think you know it all, and you think you're feeling pretty cool, and then next minute you parallel parked a brand new Volvo 65 on the reef, the wrong way, and then you're not feeling so cool anymore. So no, that was a big, massive sort of change of sort of viewing of sailing in my life for sure. And it did get to me a little bit. It took me a bit of time to get over it, and also coming back in the race later on. It's never the same the first few nights when you're sailing fast and furious again. It sits in you for sure. You don't hit a reef with that speed in the middle of the night and then just pretend it never happened. It's definitely something that gets to you.
And this is where I'm leading to. What is the best story? The Brian Carlin story. We want to hear it. We've told all our fans, all our listeners, that Nicolai is going to tell the best story.
No.
Yeah.
Before you do that, I don't even know the story. Okay. So this is how I'm going to have a laugh apparently.
Yep. And before you even do that, let's just say that I will say that, and Nicolai, you can confirm this. It's about being professional on the boat and the running through the drills and making sure in a time of stress, like you were a perfectly drilled team. You were in high stress situation and you followed the procedure to the T, exactly to the letter. And that was one of the great things about listening to your team and talking to Nico about how you went through the process. So now just talk about how you as a crew were making sure you were all safe in this situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's very, very hard to get everyone from a situation like that in one piece without any scratches. But Chris Nicholson and the rest of us managed to actually get off that reef in one piece without more than a very few bruises here and there. So, and that comes down to the people on the boat. It's not about lock and unlock in those situations. It's about good preparation and the right people around you. And from the second we hit the reef until we all safe and dry on land, it was just a well-oiled machine running with exactly everyone knowing what to do, and all responsibilities was shared between us. And then Nico was sort of running the things as he's very good at, and he's been in stress situations in his whole life, so he was calm as a cucumber and just guiding us all through it. And that's just down to good teamwork, and I couldn't think of any other people than these guys that you want to be in situations like this with. It's only, I think, in the Volvo Ocean race you're lucky enough to sail around the world with such a good team, and you can sort of handle most situations.
So when you hit the reef and you were going through the steps, how did it go? What was the process?
You're not telling the story we want, Nicolai.
Okay, yeah. I see what you're trying to get me in trouble here, Boise, but I'll tell the story.
Hey, so, Nicolai, I haven't laughed yet.
Okay.
Do it, Nicolai.
So here's the story, Brett. But I'm going to do a little twist on it. I'm not going to say what item.
This is just to me, okay? So no one else is listening. Okay, go on.
Yeah. No one. I'll listen to the show. I know. Don't worry. But anyways, the story is yeah. So when I was packing all the survival suits, we do that beforehand. We vacuum pack them so they're not taking a lot of space on the boat, and there's one per person. And we, in them we have our safety knives, and we have a whistle and all the standard stuff. And I was packing these, and we have an onboard reporter called Brian Carlin, as many people know, and they've probably all seen his filming from that night. I think it's fair to say that Brian gets stressed a little bit easier than other people. I think that's a fair way to put it, and then leave it there. So I thought it was funny to give him a little present in his survival suit that, when we got to the sort of the colder water, we put him on. He put his hand in his pocket and pulled up that little present for him. And
what was that present? Let's call it a marital aid.
Sorry?
Was it a marital aid?
It was sort of a kind of a rubber duck, the ones you have in the bathtub. But I won't say exactly what it was, but that was the twist of the story. You guys can imagine yourself what it is, and it'll still be a funny story. Even you imagining a chocolate bar, I think it'll still work. So I put a rubber duck in his pocket, and then I didn't know that we were going to hit that stupid reef. I thought it would just be a funny thing to pull out in the Southern Ocean.
You never planned it. That's right. Yep.
Yeah. And then obviously we hit that reef, unfortunately, and we're all getting in the survival suits and getting ready to with running through our safety gears and our safety checks, and the stress level. And you went, oh shit. No, I didn't even. I forgot about it because I didn't have handed 2 months before. I didn't even know it, so I thought everything all good, and everyone's having their safety knives in the pockets, and everyone ready to follow the procedure. And then Brian, our media guy, puts his hand in his pocket, and instead of pulling up a safety knife, he pulls up this rubber duck, and he actually burst straight into tears because he was just not having it at that time, and he didn't find it funny at all. And I actually didn't find it funny myself either. And I remember Chris looking at me as well, going, "You are a complete idiot for doing this." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." I took the rubber duck, put it in my own pocket, and gave him my safety knife, and then we moved on. And only found it funny the day after.
Did you find any use
God.
for the...
That's it. I'm leaving. See you later.
It certainly is one of the great stories. To imagine sitting in a wrecked boat in the middle of the night, pulling out every safety item to prove you have it, and then you pull out a rubber duck in the middle of the crowd.
It took Brian a week before he forgave me, and he actually started speaking to me again. He didn't find it funny at all.
Yeah, but the good thing,
I could have killed him with a rubber duck. So
the good thing,
he didn't find it funny.
I'm going to the Chinese. I'm going Chinese dinner. See you later.
The good thing, Nicolai, is we all know and love Brian and get on well with him. And I know he didn't find it funny, but we all love it. It's the funniest story we've ever heard, especially when you can talk about it in a private group. But I'm sorry we had to put that on you, but it is genuinely a funny story if you can visualise the situation. It's very cool.
Knowing Brian, I'm sure you guys can visualise the situation, how he behaved, and
yeah,
how Chris was looking at me in the situation as well. He wasn't happy.
Do you know why Chris wasn't happy, Nicolai?
Because I was being an idiot.
No, because he didn't do it. He was spewing.
Or he didn't get the rubber duck.
He did find it funny the day after, though. You know Chris as well. He's got a good sense of humour, so he forgave me pretty quickly for doing it.
Yeah, he's a good man. All right, so
okay, so yep, good story. I'd laughed. Yep. Because Nicolai, you have to understand that we've been trying to get you on the show for the best part of 4 or 5 weeks, and Jordan and Bicey both said, "Oh, you wait to hear this story. You wait to hear this story. And they didn't tell me. And honest to God, to all the listeners out there, that was the first time I heard this story, and I think it's great. It's a cracker.
There's actually a few more details to it, Brad, but we can you can get them next time I'm on the show.
Listen, I'm going to be in Sydney.
I'm sure be invited back.
I'm going to be in Sydney next week, so I'll make sure I'll hunt you down. How does that sound?
Yeah.
No. I want to be invited back to the show, so you only get it if you invite me back. So that's that's my insurance.
Yep. You're always invited back, Nicolai. And there is no truth to the rumour that substituting a safety item into your survival gear with a rubber duck, let's call it a rubber duck, there's no truth to the rumour that it's actually called doing a Nicolai. So if anyone does end up on a reef and you hear somebody say, they did a Nicolai, then it's nothing to do with you, all right, mate? Just so you know.
Okay, yep. I do hope no one ends up on the reef, so let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Nick, now we're hard-hitting journalists, right? Not really. And a journalist will ask you questions you don't want to answer, whereas we just want to make you laugh and have a good time. So we won't ask you questions you don't want to answer, and if you don't want to answer a question, you just say no. Okay? So just make sure you understand that. So with that in mind, how much do they pay you?
For the which one? Like for the
SailGP. No, don't answer that. Don't answer that. We're not. It's just.
I'm doing it for the love of the sport.
There we go.
You know how it is.
Yeah, there we go. Actually, just as a general question around the contract, how long is the contract? Because you've raised your own sponsorship to get your team in here. So from that perspective, you're not paid by SailGP, you're paid by your sponsor, your team. That's correct? Is that how it works?
We're all employed by the SailGP. That's of a way of making sure all the teams have the one design element to it. So, but that's correct. We have a sponsor, funding the campaign, but we're all employed by SailGP to have the same sort of terms and same sort of opportunities.
Okay, all right, all right. Okay,
How much do they pay you?
Bison's got a bad connection. I'm not really reading him, probably.
How much do they pay you?
Ignore him.
What is he? No, I'm not getting it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
good Good man. All right, so SailGP goes to New York. It starts in Sydney. It goes New York. It goes San Francisco. It goes to Cowes, and now it's going to Copenhagen. Is that correct?
Yep, we are getting a home event in Denmark, which is going to be very, very cool. I'm pretty sure you guys will be there as well. I'll be disappointed if I don't see you there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
There's a chance. Yep.
If that's all you can give me, I'm hanging up.
Well, we'll definitely. I think we're 90.
There's probably a million to one. What we're trying to say, there is a chance.
Okay. Oh, that's good enough.
Likely we'll be in San Francisco.
Yep.
So, which of course, is going to be fantastic because it's super windy and freezing cold. But the Copenhagen one, that would be pretty exciting for you guys. What does Rockwool do? So they're your sponsor. What do they actually do?
I'm pretty sure when people see the sort of the packaging in the hardware stores, they recognize it. It's insulation. It is actually stone wool, like Rockwool. It's and you put it in houses for heating insulation.
Okay.
So very, very sustainable.
Cool.
Okay, well, let me say to the sponsors of Rockwool, I need some insulation, so I'm going to go and buy some now because you're sponsoring this team. That's how it's going to work.
And let me say to you, make sure you do use the Rockwool as insulation because it's not only insulating for heat, it's also soundproofing, and it's got a lot of different, it can't burn either for a long time.
We need,
very good.
Need lots of soundproofing with Jordan.
That's what I mean. That's why I think Jordan needs it. You can't have a house without soundproofing.
He's pretty old, the snoring, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So no, get some Rockwool around you, Jordan.
All right, mate. Done. That's how sponsorship works.
Hey, we're gonna need some Rockwool for the variety bash, Bicey. Hey, put him into a little corner in the ambulance.
Yes, correct. Just for you. All right.
So, Nicolai, for you to understand what's going on there, in Australia they have this charity event where you raise money for kids. So what you do is you go and raise a whole bunch of money, and then you've got to do this car rally, thousands of kilometres through the outback of Australia, and you've got to drive really old cars. So you get a group of mates, you get a really old car, you raise all this funds, and then you go and do a few thousand Ks, and all the local cops pull you over and fine you, and all that money goes to the charities. And so last week there was the decision made that Bar Karate are entering a team, and this is what these two idiots are talking about now, just so you know, so you understand.
Are you doing it in Bicey's Defender?
No, that's a bit too new. We're in a
modern, bit too modern, yeah.
F100 ambulance.
Oh, okay. Well, judging from the photos I've seen of your Defender, I think it would be qualifying for it.
Yeah.
And it's painted like it's painted like MASH. Remember the old TV show MASH? It's green, flat matte green with a white square with a red star on it for the Red Cross. It's a beauty.
Okay.
All right. Now we've got distracted a little bit, so I just wanted you to understand what was going on, Nicolai, so you weren't out of the joke there, mate. So first off, before we sort of move on to our discussion points, I do want to say let's get the Bar Karate listening group behind Team Denmark. Let's get the Rockwool Denmark team, and let's be their biggest cheerers. So if you are a fan of our show and you happen to come across the team, just, give them the V sign or just give them a bit of love from Bar Karate, because we're going to back you guys in. We may be all Australians, but we're backing Denmark in. How's that? Oh,
very cool. I'm very happy for that. As long as you three also back us, then I'm very happy.
We back you, bud. We'll back you.
Yeah, but Nicolai, it's not free.
Oh, yes,
I know.
It is.
I know.
You have to promote us to all your. You have to promote us to all your sailing friends in Denmark.
Yep, absolutely, and I'll transfer the money as well that you send me an email beforehand for the interview. So we'll get on to that as well. Don't worry, I know the deal.
3 minutes complimentary.
Yep,
that's it. All right, shall we roll into a few discussion points and try and tie it back?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, baseline.
Nicolai, with all your travel, mate, when you're getting on the plane and stuff, are you worried about this coronavirus thing? Have you had any concerns with all the travel?
I mean, I flew down here to Australia for the event, so obviously it didn't worry me enough to not do that. But no, I actually focused a fair bit on hand sanitizer and making sure I was wearing actually a mask in the plane. That was the first time I ever did that. So yeah, I did actually take some extra precaution for making sure I don't get sick before this event.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm asking, and it's a discussion point for us, is that in Asia, the Asian region, where I actually was spending a lot of time in the last 6 months, March, April is a big time of year for all their trade shows, particularly around the marine side. And we've just heard that a whole bunch of trade sailing shows have been cancelled. So the Tokyo Boat Show has been cancelled. And there's a whole bunch of others that have been cancelled, including ones in Hong Kong, Singapore, Seoul, Shanghai, and this one in Tokyo. So what do you guys think? So we're going into an Olympic year. I'm just intrigued as to what actually is going to happen. And I actually have seen debate, and I don't know if you guys have seen this at all, about where they could host the Olympic sailing if they decide that they can't actually host the Olympics in Japan.
I mean, are you telling me that moving the Olympics from Japan? Because that would be a breaking news if
I'm saying that at the moment, it's the most unlikely thing possible, but there are events that are being shut down throughout Asia at the moment. So in Japan, in the last few weeks, they've cancelled the Tokyo Marathon, they've cancelled the boat show, the Tokyo Boat Show, and it's just a question that's got to be asked. This coronavirus, we don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just intrigued. If you were, I'm exactly the same as you, mate. With the travel, I was a little worried. I've got I'm washing my hands all the time. I'm not wearing a mask, but I am definitely thinking about where I'm putting my hands and what I'm doing, and I'm intrigued as to how people are going to handle this. And let's say they actually don't put the sailing on in Japan. Where would you do it?
London.
Weymouth. Sydney.
Copenhagen.
I was just waiting for that. Brazil. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, as a
going to the Tokyo Games in Brazil.
I'm just intrigued because it's extremely unlikely, but there's so many things cancelled. And, for the business that we're doing with USAFE at the moment, it's something that's front of mind, because we haven't actually gone into Asia in the last few months. I did get an invite to go to a trade show next week, but luckily I was on a plane back to Australia, so I can't make it. But I'm just intrigued. But if you're out there listening, throughout Asia, they are starting to cancel this stuff. So we've got plenty of time. The conversation that I've heard, though, is that as the weather gets warmer, it'll shut down this virus. Have you guys heard any of that? No. All right.
I'm sorry, John. I'm not well informed on this subject.
Okay. That's right. It was just
all I can say is that years ago we had the SARS. Years ago we had the swine flu. We had all these other viruses. I'm sorry, I just don't buy into it at the moment.
Okay.
Sorry.
Everything's good. Don't worry about it. Is that the go?
BP, the anti-vaxxer. He's
no, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. No, don't start that with me. Look, I'm a full 100% vacciner. But no, I'm not into it. I'm not into this coronavirus stuff. It just makes me laugh. Right. There's all sorts of flu. Anyway, go on. Next subject.
Okay. All right. Let's roll on to the event you guys have just done, the Teakle Classic. All right. The Teakle Classic. So, Nicolai, BP and Bicey have just done the Adelaide to Lincoln yacht race. If you think of some of the famous yacht races around the world, the ocean races that you can name, they're all secondary, of course, to the Teakle Classic. It's a race from Adelaide, in South Australia, to Port Lincoln, and it takes. In the old day, it used to take about 24 hours. Now it looks like it's down to 10 hours. Perfect conditions, blokes?
Yep.
Well, put it this way. We broke the record on secret men's business, but unfortunately there was 3 boats in front of us.
Yeah.
So, and we've just told them, well, they're ineligible, of course, because they're all not from South Australia.
So for those who...
what a fantastic turnout.
Yep.
We had 11 interstate boats who turned up. Chinese Whisper took it out in 10 hours 45 from memory.
Yep, that's about right. Yep.
The previous record was 12 hours and 5 minutes. So it was a fantastic race for everyone. And I think the top 6 beat the previous record. So it was super fast.
No, 7.
Well,
7.
What it led to is you turn up at 2 a.m. and nothing's open. So it was
I was on a 40. I was on a 40-footer. And I was on a 40-footer. Obviously, all the 52s got in, and the Chinese Whisper and the Naval, and they all got in. And I was on a 40-footer, and we got in, and nothing was still open. So that shows how good this race was. So Nicolai, in short, basically, you start the race in a sea breeze off the coast of Adelaide, and you head south. It's generally on the wind, but it's a really nice sail. And this is how I sold it to the guys that I was sailing with. And then you get to the bottom, you start easing away, and you ease away, and all of a sudden you're reaching, and then it's the shoot up to home. That's the race. 160 miles, bang.
If the main issue is you're getting in and there's nothing open, can I just recommend that you actually start at 8 in the morning? Then you can do breakfast. You can get the race over and begin for dinner. I mean, it's a pretty simple fix.
Hey, I have to say that the guys on the boat we were still racing, and they said, why don't we just start at 11 o'clock in the morning? Or why don't we start at 10 o'clock at night? I mean, what's the point of this?
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend that 9 o'clock start. You do your breakfast, you do your scrambled eggs, and you'd be home for supper.
Yeah, the boats are so much faster now. But I have to say one thing. Can I just sort of give you a bit of a visual picture, listeners out there? Sailing across the bottom of the foot of South Australia. If you look up on the map and you'll see what I'm talking about. But we came around the corner on Victoire, the Ep40, and we put the jib stick out, and we've got the J2 or J3 plus, whatever it was they call it, with the GS full main, and we were just cranking along down the bottom there, and every wave was perfect. So it was just one of those days, and we're sailing into the sunset, and you can imagine the clouds and the beautiful colour in the sky, and I turned around to the boys, I said, guys, this doesn't happen. This is full on, and we were just linking up waves non-stop, and we sat on probably 15, 16 plus knots on this little Ep40. I know the TPs were going faster, but geez, it was good sailing.
Yeah. Did you feel inspired to write some poetry or something, BP? Is that where you were going with that, or?
Well,
I wanted them to, the guys from Sydney who I was sailing with, to actually go, yep, I nearly said the F word. I really love sailing because it was just wonderful, Jordan. Wonderful.
Good. All right. Well, so as Nick said, Chinese Whispers did set the race record, but that mighty vessel, Ichiban, was the overall winner, and Secret Men's Business came in second on the IRC with Chinese Whispers on third. BP, you guys were in seventh. Which is pretty similar to your Hobart thing. You didn't have a port starboard or anything?
Oh, no.
Yeah, they did.
Hey.
But they were in the waters.
No, we're all good.
Do you know what? Do you know who it was with, Jordan?
Victoire, you were sailing with Victoire. Who was on the boat with you, mate?
I was on Victoire, but do you know who the port starboard was with?
No. Oh, Secret Men's, of course.
Quest.
Oh, of Quest. Okay.
The same boat.
No,
They're
look,
following you around, mate.
It must be you, BP. All right,
So-
let's move on. So, just
move on.
yeah, it sounds a bit stationary and stilted at the moment. So, there's a week-long regatta continues on in
I
Port
think
Lincoln.
this is a classic sailing. Sorry for interrupting you, John, but this is a classic sailing issue. We're all telling each other sailing stories, and I think it's the best stories there is out there. And there's, you've done a race and you think they're awesome conditions, but it doesn't really work. You can't keep telling sailing stories because unless you're actually there, it's not fun to hear for anyone.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing it myself. I'm sorry, but if I've just done a Sydney Hobart race and it was the awesome conditions, and you're in the bar telling, and people actually don't care. They pretend they do, but they can't imagine it. So it's just a classic sailing syndrome. We all think we're doing something awesome, but it's just ourselves for enjoying it.
What's the best race you've done, Nicolai?
Sorry?
What's the best race you've done?
That's easy. Obviously the Volvo Ocean race is such a long and cool race. It's can't beat it.
Which leg?
Oh, that.
Transatlantic leg. Yeah, fast, furious, and short enough that you get home before you get too tired. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Transatlantic. Yeah.
Yep. That was when they set the record, BP. It was just the perfect,
I know that.
perfect set of conditions.
Good.
Yep. All right. So we'll touch on. We've got a bit of audio on the sports boats. We'll touch on that, I think, next week. Just given the technology stuff at the moment. BP, we'll come back to it just for the way things are going. I don't want to get sort of bogged down. I do want to talk about the element in Bruce Kirby. From the laser class. Have you guys seen that bit of news during the week that he won a court case in the US? Did you guys see that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So what did you notice?
I think Bruce has just bought himself a new house.
Go on, boss. Have we lost you?
No. Well, no. Yep, I'm back. Bruce just bought himself a new house for $6.8 million.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult thing in our sport to kind of see it and see what's happening.
Yeah, so what happened was there was a ruling in favour of Bruce Kirby, who obviously was the designer of the laser, the single-handed laser. And he got awarded damages for trademark infringement and for the misappropriation of the Bruce Kirby name. And it was awarded against Laser Performance Europe. So you remember that there's been a lot of aggression between Laser. Have you ever sailed a Laser, Nicolai?
I have, but only, very few times, and mainly as a sort of a beach dinghy when I'm on holiday.
So obviously this is
like me, Nicolai.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to tell you afterwards, how awesome it was in the conditions, but just for you, because I know everyone else don't want to hear it.
Yeah. All right. So obviously there's been a lot of aggression, and particularly everything seems to be influenced around that Laser Performance Europe. But so there's a second court case still going on, but that one has come out and has ruled in favour of Bruce Kirby. Obviously, before he buys the house, he might want to hold off because there'll be an appeal. But that is what's happened there, which is I find quite interesting. I'm not sure how this is all going to play out, but it's not as though sailing can afford this sort of behaviour. That's all I'll say. Anyway, anybody?
Yeah, no, it can't afford it. It can't afford it. But people who design things and get it out there and make it happen, they deserve their returns. But when it's been done in this case, what they say is illegal. It's basically illegal. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, BP. The people that put the effort in and design things, they definitely do deserve the rewards. So yeah, I think that's a great response from you. Another one of interest, Nicolai, one of the things that we're trying to do, beside be just idiots, is that we're trying to actually create opportunities and discussion around getting more people into our sport. And one of the things that we do is we ask people to come to us and talk about things that they're doing that are bringing people into the sport. So I don't know if
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this.
I don't know if your club has anything special they're doing, but we got a response which is just the most clever and funniest thing I've ever heard. You want to hear this, Nicolai?
Yeah, I'm listening.
All right. So this club in the US.
Now this actually relates particularly to you.
Okay. This club in the US have started placing crew needed signs in their local IKEA because newly divorced people have more time on their hands and they've got nothing to do. So the logic is that people are going to IKEA to fill out the apartments of the flats they're having to move into now that they're divorced, and they've got a bit of time on their hands, and it's actually working. They've been putting ads in IKEA, picking up divorced people, and they say that their stories of experiences is about some of the most fun they've had on boats in a long time. So, it's very, very
Is this a new form of dating?
Well,
it's the Barkarati Tinder.
And why is this related to me? Sorry.
The EP thought the IKEA might relate to you, mate. It's Northern European.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay, but if you're out there listening and you want to try and increase your number of people on boats, give the signboard at IKEA a bit of a go and let us know how it goes for you, because I didn't even think of that, but some people are very clever. All right, around the grounds, the Women's Laser Radial World Championships actually started today, our time. Now, this is obviously the last World Champs before the Olympics. Do you get on with any of the laser sailors from Denmark, mate?
Yeah, obviously we have the best one. She's Danish, Anne-Marie Rindum. So, that's gotta wish her good luck before this starts, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna be hard to beat. So that's very cool. She's an awesome sailor.
And she's a great friend of ours, actually, Nicolai. Anne-Marie Rindum.
Yes.
She came on the show.
She was on the show. She's already been on the show.
I know.
And
that's very cool.
You.
And she,
to be honest, I think that's only fair because
she's a
you
legend.
gotta have the funny son first.
Yeah, that's right. She's
not that we haven't been trying to get hold of you, mate.
But the good news, buddy.
You say that, but I haven't heard anything. So I think it's just an excuse because you have to, get through the funny people first to get the audience built up, and then you can go through, the ones you feel you have to get on just to be nice and polite.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. So they're racing in Sandringham in Victoria, which is a little bit further south than where you are at the moment, Nicolai. They're split into two fleets. Obviously, they're qualifying fleets, and then they'll pick the gold and silver fleets after that. The good news, they've only had one race. It's only just started today as we're recording this. But Anne-Marie won that race in her fleet.
So, perfect.
You beauty.
Yes.
Yeah, Anne-Marie Baru.
Go, Anne-Marie.
Yep, she's a champion. We do like her a lot, actually, we'll be honest. So she's got the win.
I got to say, it was so much fun talking to her, wasn't it?
Yep, absolutely, bud. Absolutely. Marie Baru won the other race. So, but it's a huge event. All the best female laser sailors in the world, and going to be sailing down in Victoria, exactly the same place as we just had the standard rig for the lasers. So best of luck to everyone competing, and hopefully the best team wins. And obviously, Anne-Marie, we do have a soft spot for you, so best of luck as well. So that's cool.
Absolutely.
Yep, great. And then another event starts Monday our time, or Monday their time, to tell the honest truth, is the Caribbean 600. Have any of you guys done the Caribbean 600?
Negative.
Negative?
That sort of killed the subject, didn't it?
Yeah. Have you done it, Nicolai?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Hey, Jordan. What now?
I'll talk about the race. There is just...
What a great race, though. 600 miles.
There we go.
Like turning
agreed.
Corners all the time, and a massive rundown from the through the Caribbean. Fantastic race.
And they fixed the problem about shops being closed when they finished. They're actually keeping them open until everyone's finished. So they fixed that.
Good work, Nicolai. You're on fire. It's the 12th edition of the event. They race around 11 Caribbean islands, 600 miles, as Bicey said. And they set off from Antigua on Monday the 24th their time. So it'll be, depending on where you are in the world, so US sort of time or that sort of part of the world time. Now, the conditions are unique. Like normally you're going to get a nice solid trade wind blowing through there, but there's a bit of a ridge sitting right over the islands. And it looks like it's going to start in really light winds, which is very unusual. And maybe even could be a small boat race because the winds aren't going to fill in from the traditional easterly trade wind area. They're going to have a lot more north in them, and it looks like it'll sort of be light, slowly build. So probably if you're on one of the smaller boats, you might have a bit of a good chance. So it'll be one to watch with interest. You can watch the stream on that one. And Nicolai, have you remember a Volvo 65 called Mapfre?
We'll keep watching out for that, and we'll give the update next week.
Yep. So do you remember, Nicolai, the Volvo 65 Mapfre?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so that vessel is over and actually doing this event, and it is flying a gigantic Barcarati flag. It's got a Barcarati battle flag nowadays.
Are you sponsoring a Volvo 65?
Oh, we sponsor everything.
Oh dear. All right, no, we're not sponsoring it. We've just got a fan who he's got a battle flag built up, and he's running that 65 team. So yeah, it's good times. So it's
cool.
pretty.
No, we're sponsoring them.
Okay.
That's a Polish team now, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. So what about with the SailGP from your perspective, Nicolai? If the Volvo comes around again, are you done with the ocean race now, or because you've put this team together and SailGP running on an annual basis? This is your focus for a while now. Is that the best way to describe it?
Yeah, absolutely. This
good question.
is my focus.
Really good question.
This is my focus for now. This is my 100% focus. So I wouldn't say I'm done with the Volvo Ocean race forever, but for now this is where I'm going to put all my effort in. It's very cool and very fun racing.
Yeah. No, it looks super fun. What about like in the ocean race, how they had this facility called the Boatyard? I don't know if you know much about the Boatyard.
Yeah.
But,
I'm a big fan. I'm a very big fan.
Yep. Are they doing the same sort of program with the SailGP? Is it, or do you have your own team and support crew?
No, they are doing the same, sort of similar, very similar concept. It's called a tech team instead. It's mainly to keep costs down. Obviously we're sharing a lot of resources, same like the Boatyard, and then all the teams only have 5 shore crew to help the tech team. So it's a very effective and very good way of keeping the cost down and keeping the one design element in as well.
Okay. So who's in your shore crew that we'd know?
We have our short team manager is Richie O'Farrell, British guy.
Yep.
And then we have a safety diver, Simon Newling. He's also doing a comms. Our wing guy is Ian Paddington. Rip driver is Bro Witt.
Yep.
And a boat builder is Ian Bogue. So 5 very competent, and I'm sure you probably know them all, but very good guys and hard workers.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Okay, so I think we're going to we've got a lot to discuss on the Australian sports boats, but I think given the connections in the upload, we might push that one back to next week. So if you're the Australian sports boats, and then BP can have a bit more of a chat about it. apologies for those people, but I just think with
more than happy to wait till next week. It's been a long show. Go on.
Yep. Copy. So what we'll do is also the T-shirt design challenge. Obviously, we're not publishing that at the moment because we're just too far around the world. So we'll push that back a week. And then we'll just call it, we'll roll into our sort of our finalisation of the whole event discussion. Yep.
But before you do that, can I say how successful the stubby coolers have been in Port Lincoln?
Oh, okay. Do you know what the term stubby cooler is, Nicolai? You've hung around enough Aussies to know what that means?
No. Please explain.
Yep. BP.
It's a little neoprene holder that you put on your beer when you buy it, and it stops the heat in your hand going through into the beer and heating it up.
All right. Why wouldn't you just drink it right away?
So it keeps the beer cold. Well, how many beers are you thinking of drinking right away?
No, we're just talking one beer, aren't we?
Yeah. So the difference, obviously, in Australia is it's quite hot, whereas where you're from, it doesn't get above 2 degrees. So,
yeah.
That's it.
So the beers heat up real quick. So it's a bit of an Australian invention. So we have this thing. We call them, a beer in a bottle is called a stubby, and a stubby holder is exactly what BP's just described. So, and it's very much.
The reason I brought that up was because we were standing in the bar today and we're having a drink after, during the day, and someone came up to me and said, "Oh, someone stole my stubby cooler." So it's already started. You
got to write your name on it.
There are people stealing bar karate stubby coolers.
That's fantastic. Oh, dear.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. All right. So, Nicolai, when we finish off, we ask a little bit of a quiz question just to just check knowledge. So what we normally do is we ask a question and then answer it the next week. So the question from last week was, or it's a true or false, and I made a statement that at some point, 1 out of every 8 Americans will work for McDonald's. Now, do you reckon that's true or false?
I reckon that's false.
You reckon that's false? Do you reckon it's higher or worse?
Yeah.
Lower?
No chances that many people working for McDonald's.
Yep. Well, it's true. It is true. It's believed that 1 out of every 8 Americans have been employed or will be employed by McDonald's at some point, according to Fast Food Nation.
Wow. All right.
It's pretty crazy, isn't it? Okay.
Very, very crazy.
All right. So the question for this week, which nation has the oldest flag in the world?
That's pretty easy, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. Don't
answer it. Don't answer it. It's for the listeners, not for you.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
So, that is the question we're asking. And that's it, mate. We're going to finish up now. Obviously, a little bit of an awkward show, but it was fantastic to have you on. We are super chuffed for your entry in the SailGP. We definitely want to see you smash it, mate.
Stoked.
So, best of luck, hey?
No, thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks for the support.
No worries.
Cheers, mate.
All right.
Love it.
All right. We're out of here.
Cheers all. Love yous.
All right. See you guys.